And here we are. Finally, thank you so much for being in a live. That's the ESL live stream. When you get reconnections, right at the beginning of your life. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, that's the ESL live stream. No, I just like that DJ for what? Huh? Okay. Thank you so much. It's Sunday night. I think it's the close to 90th ESL live stream. Very soon, 100 ESL live stream. That's awesome. Thank you for following. Today, we're going to talk about kindergarten, classroom management. And for you, let's do a little warm up. Here we go. For all the teachers right here. You'll be teaching in a kindergarten. You should know this one. Come on. Hello, everyone. You can say a little hello in the chat. Let me know where you're from and where are you teaching? Maybe in a kindergarten. Today, we're going to have teacher William with us. We're going to wait for him. He should be coming in a moment. This is the live. It's never easy uh, to get, but you can say a little hello in the chat. Here we are. So we're gonna welcome uh, teacher William. William has been teaching for quite a long time in kindergarten. He's got a lot of stuff to share with us. So we're gonna welcome him, the ESL live stream today with teacher William. It's right now. Hello, William. Thank you. Welcome, teacher. William.
Hello.
Thank you so much. Hello, brother. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I know you've been working hard on your live stream, on your YouTube channel for sure. Can you hear me? You hear me good?
Yeah. Y- Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Mike?
That's great. Awesome. I'm doing just like you. I'm doing good. And I can see people in the chat. We can see it on the screen. Everybody is saying a little hello, teaching in China kindergarten. That's Sikilwea Radibi. It's not easy. I guess you can read it better than me, maybe. Sikelewa Lilwa. Sorry. Excuse me if my pronunciation is not that good. It's not always easy. Great. So, can you introduce yourself a little bit for because some people might not know you on the ESL live stream. Can you give a quick introduction before I check out the PPT? I know on the presentation we do have your introduction, and here it is.
Right, right. So thank
So,
you
can
very
you
much,
introduce
Mike. Thank you for
yourself?
this
Or
opportunity
thank you. All good.
to be on this channel, on your channel. Mike, you're one of the people, when I first came to China, you're one of the people I actually listened to. Your content, it was very helpful, and I really do appreciate all the information, all the content that was out there, the videos, the teaching style, the games, all of that. They were really useful. And one of the things that inspired me even to start my YouTube channel were your videos. Some of the things that inspired me was your videos. So I really appreciate this opportunity. It's an honor to be here with you today and to talk to all the teachers out there so that we can be on the same level in establishing some kind of control in our schools. So my name is William and I am from Ghana, born and raised in Ghana. I came to China in 2019 to teach English as a second language. I have been teaching the kindergarten for the past, I think this is my fifth year. And I teach in the bilingual kindergarten. My website is williamofori.com. You can check it out. And my YouTube channel, the name is Teacher William. So I would say that's who Teacher William is. A humble teacher at your service.
Thank you very much. You can go and check out Teacher William's YouTube channel. You can just scan the code and you will go right away. Will take you right away to his channel. And thank you very much, William. It's all, teaching teachers should help each other. And, I remember when you came, that was quite like maybe 2 years ago, you came to me and said, Mike, can you help me? Because it's so difficult to get 1,000 subscribers. And I say, yes, of course, I can help. I can help you. And I say, but remember one thing, when you do YouTube channel, you got to be consistent. You got to post a lot, especially these days. YouTube has started to change. You have more shorts, with that TikTok kind of like when you sweep quickly. So YouTube is changing, and when you came to me, check out your videos. That was awesome. And this is not your first live on the ESL live stream.
Eh,
So thank
Yes,
you for
eh,
your invitation. Thank you
indeed.
for your good words.
The pleasure is mine, Mike.
Great. So. Um, All good. So if you guys get questions, feel free to ask. If you need help about your kindergarten, we're gonna help you. But you gotta know that teacher William has new courses online. He just started to launch his course, and so we're going to go through his course. We're going to see how it can be really helpful for you. And William, who knows the course better than me, I just started the course a little bit, but it's quite very easy to use. And I hope William can tell us a little bit more about his course. So it's the presentation are okay. Then we're gonna go to the here on the slide. What is it? Can you tell us a little bit?
So, in the course, one of what I try to do in the course is to talk about a lot of things that teachers actually would encounter when they go to the classroom. And I know that when a teacher goes to the classroom, some of us sometimes we just think of the work as just the classroom and we forget the teaching of the kids and we forget a lot of the other things that surround that. Then I try to put all these comprehensive things, everything together to make a single course. So when we go to the school to teach, first of all, it's the school that actually employed us. Therefore, the school is important. We need to know how to address issues and things that are related to the school. The student is important as well because we are going to teach the student, and it's important we know how students learn and how they learn a language, how they behave at school. Also, the classroom environment is where we teach. A lot happens in the classroom, and even in the classroom, depending on the kind of teacher you are, there might be other teachers. You might be the homeroom teacher, you might be the subject teacher. So it's depending on the environment. There are different things that go on. Also, the teacher
It's very
is the key aspect
true.
of this course,
It's
and I put a
sorry
whole
to
lot in the teacher aspect. Yeah,
yeah, sorry to
that's okay.
s-
That's okay,
sorry
Mike.
to disturb you. Yeah, because you are in a bilingual kindergarten. It's very important to notice that because many, especially guys like me, who's been in kindergartens for ages in China. So, what means bilingual kindergarten? What's the difference between the actual normal kindergarten?
Usually, what the bilingual kindergartens do is they try to put English on sort of an equal level with the Chinese language or whatever other language there is. So bilingual meaning two, they try to emphasize that both languages are used, are prime focus in that kind of school environment. So usually when we look at this under the schools, one of the things I talk about in the course is the different types of schools there are. So when you go to teach ESL, you might encounter something like a training center, which is not even a kindergarten at all. And there are some kindergarten where English just as a subject. But then there are also some kindergartens where they try to create an immersion system for the language, and therefore they do a whole lot more when it comes to English. English is learned every day. English is used to perform different activities, such as when the kids have to eat, when they have to line up, go outside to play, and all of the other stuff. So I think that would be it. Hello, Mike. I think maybe there might be an interruption. So going on to talk more about the course.
For that, I guess.
Hello, Mike.
That the
Are you
special
on?
one too.
Okay, sorry. I think I couldn't hear you for a moment there. Okay, so
That
going
things happen.
on to talk about the course. What I try to establish with the course is everything is different everywhere. Oh, every environment is different. Let me put it that way. We teach in different schools, we teach in different environment, and it would be a lie if we think that one idea will work very easily and simply in another environment. Sometimes it might not be the case. There are different kinds of schools. So, what I try to focus on, what we need to understand is that we want to establish a system where things are systematic in their execution, and therefore it doesn't depend on maybe our skill, or and therefore when there is a lack of skill, everything falls apart. And so I try to get us to think about the whole thing like a system. Okay. And when we talk about systems, we know that there's people, there's responsibilities, and there's also processes in which we have to use approaches we have to use to carry out those responsibilities. So, for example, people could be the classroom teacher, it could be the school, it could be the parents. Responsibilities could be how to teach a particular lesson, how to make the lesson interesting, and the process has to do with how we will carry out those things. And in trying to address classroom management, which is our main topic for today, which first of all we need to understand that classroom management is not something that we solve all and we are done, because we are dealing with kids, and kids, they kind of grow every day. You see their growth more rapidly as
True.
compared to adults. So for instance, you figure out how to deal with a 3-year old in the first semester, and they come for the second semester changed, and what you were doing before doesn't
Exactly.
work anymore. By the time they are 4, they have changed, and what you were doing before doesn't work anymore. So we need to first of all think
True.
about how to establish systems that would deal with the kids at every level. So one of the approaches, one of the things I discovered in teaching the bilingual kindergarten, or teaching in the kindergarten as a whole, is the kind of grouping that is found in the classroom. And I talk extensively about this in the course, but I'll just touch on this briefly, is that for for every for every quality, or for every metric that you identify in the classroom, you find this consistent grouping among the kids that kind of determines how each and every child performs. So for instance, when you take the performance of the kids, you realize that 20% are in the top, really good, excellent. You don't have any problems with them. You find 70% in the
Yeah.
middle, just about that much. They do their best, and you need to give them a bit of a push. And there's 10% who are on the bottom, they struggle all the time. So this goes on with a whole lot of other different qualities. But then let's look at this in terms of just classroom management. So if we will go to the different slide, if we'll go to the different slide, I
Sure. No
I try
problem.
to deal, I try to break this down. I try to two into classroom and class control. It's not
Very
as
good.
much an
Mm.
issue of the wording, or the expression of the word. That's not really the important part, because sometimes you talk about this, people will say that's not what classroom management means, that's not what class control means. But it's not as much as that, but as to the idea that is behind these two. So a lot of times, those of us who are in China teaching ESL, most of us are subject teachers. There are some who are homeroom teachers, but then most of them are subject teachers. And when you're a subject teacher and you go to the classroom, you're gonna find that there are hierarchies in the classroom. There's the homeroom teacher who
Mm.
has her his or her own responsibility, and then you also fall in a certain category. So whether you're the homeroom teacher or whether you are the subject teacher, there's always something you can do to make sure the classroom is very organized. So classroom management, when I look at classroom management, I look at it extensively as how the classroom as a whole is managed. So that has to do with the routines in the classroom. That has to do with certain arrangements. That has to do with how certain activities are performed. That has to do even with classroom discipline. And that primarily, I would say, is something that lies in the domain of the homeroom teacher, because the homeroom teacher spends more time with the kids. The homeroom teacher is the one who has sole
True.
responsibility when it comes to the students. And there are instances when the subject teacher is going to have a bit of an overlapping role. But ideally, what we want to do is we want to look at this as something that is solely the responsibility of the homeroom teacher. And sometimes
Exactly.
we
And
go
here,
to class And this is something which
Sorry
I
to.
struggled with a lot.
Okay, you good? Yeah, sorry to
Yes, and just what I was
to
gonna say,
interrupt you.
a
Yeah,
lot of
because
times yeah, I can see a comment from.
okay, okay, that's what I wanted to point out.
Yeah, go on, Mike.
No, no, because I can see
Yes, I
that.
was even about to touch on that. That sometimes we go to class and the classroom, we expect the classroom teacher to help because ideally we think the discipline and to some extent there's some responsibility on the classroom teacher, but then we are looking for that help and it's not coming because the classroom teacher
Yeah,
feels it's your lesson and you need to be in charge of your lesson. So sometimes this was something I struggled with, and there are still some days that is still a problem. So when what we are
the
saying is that we need to look at classroom management before we talk about class control, the control the class. We are on
yeah,
classroom management. So we need to look at classroom management as how the class is organized. And if we would understand it properly, we need to know that this if you're a subject teacher, it's not something you can do all by yourself. Because while you have limited time with the
yeah,
students, you come and you go. You on the hierarchy of responsibility, you're not at the top, and responsibility will determine how much respect you get. So we need
exactly.
to understand that first of all, and try to get our school to be involved with this process. And I'll touch on that later. But let's come to class control. When I talk about class control, when I define class control, the idea here has to do with participation in your lesson, being in control of your lesson. When classroom management is done right, class control becomes very easy. So, class control is a subset. To me, class control is a subset of classroom management, or class control stands on top of classroom management. When the homeroom teacher has set the stage for you, when the homeroom teacher has made sure the kids are sitting down and they are listening to you, and sometimes they do that really well. But then when you're not able to control your class, everything falls apart again. And then you need to go back to them asking for help.
That's so
So
true.
you need to have the capacity to to hold participation, to hold attention. You need to be able
Yeah,
to
super
hold the
active.
kids' attention when the classroom teacher sets that stage for you. And there are a lot of ways we can do this. So when we go to the next slide, I want to talk about something that I call the control mindset. And there's also the mindset which I talk about in the course, basically how to think about managing the class, but I rather touch on the control mindset. So what are you supposed to have in mind if you want to have good control over your class? And I say this because I'm not going to go deep into homeroom teacher duties because a lot of times that doesn't have a big implication on teaching of English unless the classroom teacher is teaching a
Yeah,
subject at that time. So I wouldn't touch more on that. I'm touching more on the teacher aspect. So we want to think about class control in a certain way. What is it do I need to do? And the primary idea here, the primary principle behind class control or which is the control mindset, is participation. When you are thinking about controlling your class, you are thinking about how to get the kids to participate in your lesson. Your
yeah,
your idea should not be on how to get some kid to keep quiet and not disrupt your lesson. That is not your primary principle here. That's
true,
not your
true.
primary idea here. Because if they keep quiet and they don't disturb your
Exactly.
lesson, other kids learn, but those other kids are also a part of your lesson and they don't get anything. So you have kind of not fulfilled your role as a teacher. So We want to answer 4 key questions when we think about class control, when we think about having the kids participate in our lesson. And the first is, why do you want control? Why do you want class control? Why do you want control over your class? And I think that's very obvious. We are teaching something and we would love for the kids to participate and learn it. So that's
To
very
listen
easy to answer.
and
Who
participate. Yeah.
wants the control is also very easy to answer, which is the teacher who is teaching the lesson. You are the teacher, you are standing in front of the class. Whoever is teaching the subject now is the one who needs control over the class. So first of all, it's not the homeroom teacher who should have the control over the class when you, the teacher, you are teaching the lesson now. So for instance, one of the things I used to do is tell the homeroom teachers, when a child wants to go and pee, when a child wants to go to the washroom, they don't come to
Yeah.
you, the homeroom teacher, to ask you. I'm in charge of
They
right now.
come
I'm
to
in
you.
control of the lesson. So
True.
they ask me. So that I give them the permission.
Exactly.
So you need to know that, okay, who is in control of this lesson right now? Not the whole class, not
Who's the
how
boss?
the kids eat, not other activities. Yes, who is in charge of
Exactly.
this 30 minutes where we have to learn English? And that's me, the subject teacher. Now, the next question we want to answer is, what is the duration for control that you need? And this is where I feel some of us, we get stuck because we think for the class to be perfect, that means the kids need to sit and pay attention and listen to us the whole 35 minutes, even when there are times when we are not engaging them directly. And what do I mean by that? Let's take a simple scenario. You have used a flashcard, you've taught a word. Now you want to play games. You have called 2 kids to play a game. There are 8 other kids who are sitting there just waiting. It would be great. It would be wonderful if they would just, in quotes, shut up and listen to you while other kids play. But these are kids. You're not engaging them at that time. So it's easy and it's reasonable if they do drift off. Okay. So you want control for this 3 minutes flashcard game from these 3 kids who have come forward. I'm not saying you should ignore the others, but then I'm saying don't be overly concerned when they are sitting there just not really paying attention while you're attending to the 3 who are in front. You're going to get back to them very soon. So, what you want to do is, okay, either you're going to find a way to play games where if you want control from all of them at the same time, you're going to have to find a way to play a game where they can all participate at the same time. Remember, we are saying that the idea here is participation. So, if you're not doing something
Yeah.
where they are participating, you shouldn't be so concerned about being in control of them, unless you just want them to be quiet, and quiet doesn't mean participation. So usually what I do is, if I'm playing a game where it's only 2 kids who can play at a time, when I call the 2 kids when one plays, I go back to the rest of them, everyone, I raise the flashcard and we all say it again, then I come back and play with that way. I'm engaging them, I'm asking for participation, so I can des- I can ask for control at that time. So what specific events do you need class control for? Do you need control for? That's a question also to answer. Do you want to play a game? Do you want to sing a song? Do you want to do a warm up? Are you trying to present a topic, a word to them? For what event do you need control right now? And we want to try and differentiate because, for instance, when you finish your 5-minute warm up, welcome and warm up, and the kids need to sit down while you, the teacher, prepare some content, it'd be great if they would just sit idle and keep quiet. But then you need to understand they are kids, they're going to drift off. So don't be concerned about the times when you are not soliciting participation from them. Don't feel like your class has gone haywire. You will get that control back when you introduce an activity. And that also means that also kind of gives us an idea about what to do to get control. That means make the lesson interesting, ask the kids to do an activity, use TPR, use strikes that would solicit participation from the kids. That way, the chances of being in control will be higher. So, touching on this briefly, sometimes I try to think about what are some of the things, some of the problems that make class control difficult, because it's those problems that help bring a solution, which is that, first of all, it's usually the issue with the native language. You're a foreign teacher, you're an English native, you don't speak Chinese, most of the teachers don't. And here you are in front of
True.
20 kids who speak Chinese and they're now learning English. What could you say that would make sense? For instance, I could shout at the top of my voice, keep quiet, and it would not mean anything at all, because they
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
if I haven't taught them keep quiet, it doesn't mean anything. As far as they're concerned, you just
That's
shouted. So the native
yeah.
language is usually a barrier, and that's why we need the homeroom teachers sometimes. Sometimes also one of the problems is the nature of the lesson. Some lessons are ideally interesting and some others are not. And I suppose
True. And
we obviously we need to find ways and techniques to make the lesson interesting. But to be honest, sometimes it's not. If I'm teaching something like ice cream, if I'm teaching something, food, that's interesting. But when you get to teaching something like I bend my knee, I can jump, you might have to bring an activity into that. Else, you're just going to be left behind. If the lesson is not interesting, it makes it difficult to be in control of the class. The other is rapport. Sometimes when you build a relationship with the kids, and the relationship could be in many forms, it also helps when you're new to the kids, when they don't understand you, when they haven't yet assigned that level of respect to you, it becomes difficult for you to be in control of them. And finally, the classroom management factor. When the class teacher, when the homeroom teacher doesn't do a good job, it becomes really difficult for the subject teacher to carry out their lesson. So I think I have said a whole lot. I will just throw this back to Mike.
no, that's true. That um, classroom management is very, very important, and you did something really very interesting in your course. And yes, it's always difficult in a way that you always wait sometimes for the help of someone else, right? It's like when you don't know where to go, when your class is
Yes.
going where you don't know, you feel that you're losing the control, and then you look at others and say, yeah, okay, nobody cares. Yeah, of course I'm the boss, so I gotta find something. It happened to me quite a lot of time, where
Yeah.
there's a point like where you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do, and you got to think fast because there's going to be a mess in
Mm.
5 seconds. If you don't do anything, it's going to be no. So yes, one, especially for kindergarten, one very particular important method is TPR. Like you point out that the fact, like, when you say you
Yes.
can shout, be quiet, and nobody is going to care. So TPR is here to help. You just go an international sign
Yes.
that everybody knows, be quiet, be quiet. But you really have to be like, do big actions, even funny actions, because kids will be looking at you. They will be caring,
Yes.
and they will be
Indeed.
paying more attention. So it's TPR is something that is trying to save you in your class. This is very important
Indeed.
for students that
Indeed.
to work with it. And yeah, um, I think now we are, the evolution of education in China as well. Like for you, you're in a bilingual kindergarten. When I was teaching in kindergarten, that was, I had, I don't know, we say in Chinese is going to be pandura, right?
Uh,
Pandura. So
yes, indeed.
you get, that was it. And it wasn't, uh, the, the homeroom teacher wouldn't care a bit. Like some of them, they would come to you to say, "Oh, today we're teaching this. Can you add a little song?" And when you just arrive in the classroom, the teacher is telling them, "Can you teach this?" Because it's according to what they're teaching during the day. So sometimes I think communicating with uh, the homeroom teacher is becoming something very, very important. And building a curriculum that in China you
Yes.
still in different parts in China have that a foreign teacher class and he teaches what he wants to with the training centers and they
Yeah.
just teach what the training center want to teach, right? The kindergarten don't even care. Oh, that's fine. We get a foreign teacher. We look good.
Indeed.
That's all fine. That's pretty much it. And it was like that quite a long time.
As long as we have one, we're good. Yeah, that's very true
Yeah, that
sometimes.
was it.
That's very true. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
With kindergarten, back in the time, we had with some of my working with kindergarten. At that time was, yeah, classroom management in kindergarten is a big issue because what I was
It is.
worrying the most that room was security. Not, I was like, because
Yeah. Yes.
at this time when I just arrived in China, that was the only the one child policy. So all like
Uh,
princesses, so little prince, and now is
indeed.
a little bit
Indeed.
different. But the parents and the grandpa grandma would be paying a lot of attention on that, and that was quite difficult.
And somehow it is still even the case in my school, in
And we
my
got
at my
someone who's
place,
saying hi,
in
teacher.
my city. So hi there.
Yeah, your course be very, very well. I've been checking a little bit, very friendly. Gonna when your course is also on Thinkific, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
So you
It's something.
can see the
When
course
you go to
maybe
my
right now.
website williamofori.com and, and and you click on learn, there should be information on the course.
Yes. Here when you overview, so you can see uh, the different course outline about topics and all stuff. Early start an overview and to make sure you guys understand really you have like it's only $29. Oh man, that's incredible. That's very interesting for people. I guess actually it's a promotion, right?
Yes, it is. For the holiday season and for early birds, people who want to get it early, it's a discount for you.
Great. Yes, that's really impressive. I think when you as well, oh yeah, you can resume the course because I started. I want everyone to have a little in view of the course. So here it's pretty much. Let me see
Yes.
because I get this who's bothering you. Yeah, so that's uh, the first page about this course, which is very interesting. Then you have some videos about
Oh,
so
I think you're breaking up a little, so it was a little difficult to hear. I think it's getting better.
have an
Uh,
eye
Okay,
on
this I think I don't.
uh, his course good evening, Connie, and Steve, kindergarten teacher. I have a kid who is totally out of those everything. Can you hear me good? Yeah. So I have a kid who's totally out of
Yeah.
control. So you should try this kid. Does he have mental? Um, and yeah, you wanted to say something?
Okay, so it, when you have a child like this in your classroom, for instance, when you look at my course, in the course I talk about something called class demographics, and I think we've touched a little bit on that. So class demographics, there are kids who are very disciplined. You don't need to tell them anything. They just do everything by themselves. They'll sit quietly, they'll listen through the lesson. There are other kids who are also like at the extreme end, who would throw a tantrum, who would do something mischievous, who would not pay attention. There's those. There's also those in the middle. We wouldn't talk about them. What you want to do with children who are on the extreme end is not to try and solve the problem by yourself, because honestly, there isn't much you can do about it. And I'll tell you right now, teacher, that you need to take that pressure off your mind and not feel like this is incompetence on your part or anything. This has absolutely nothing to do with you as a teacher. This is a deeper problem than the kid just acting like that in the classroom. So the first thing you need to do is involve the classroom, the homeroom teacher. Let the homeroom teacher know what is going on, how the child is
Exactly.
acting in class. Tell the homeroom teacher about it. Then you proceed. If nothing changes, you proceed to let the school know about it. Let the school understand that this is what this child is doing in my classroom. And therefore, if we truly want to do something for this child, we need to call and bring in the parents to try and help solve this problem. Because I promise you that
Exactly.
you try to do when it comes to the lower end of the kids, it would not make any difference because those kids, the root of their problem is not in the classroom. The root of their problem, the consistency I found is that it's an external problem. And therefore, when parents don't join in to do this with the school, nothing is going to change. So unless you want to ignore that child during your teaching, or or something else, then you're going to have to try to take the appropriate channels to make this happen. You can't do it in one lesson. You cannot do it in one lesson. It has to be a whole process for solving this kind of problem.
Exactly. So true. Thank you so much for that question, Stefan Alexanian. Thank you so much. And then we get Fifi Nabukera. Hello, need help on how to avoid a boring class? That's a good question. I think you got to make it fun. For sure.
Yes. Yes. If nothing works, you can try the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That is the only solution for a boring class. And I understand that sometimes you go into the classroom and your preparation doesn't work. But then the best way to try and mitigate this is to prepare adequately. Visualize your lesson before you go in and take into account a whole different factors. How old are the kids? What kind of games can they play? What is the setting of what is my the setting of my environment? What works here? Are the class teachers involved? Do I have to play the games by myself? Do the kids like action activities? Do they like
I'm
TPRs?
doing.
Do they like songs? You need to try and visualize your lesson and plan adequately for it
Ask
before you go
yourself.
in.
Yeah. Yeah, and before you say that, oh, kids feel bored. So I think,
Yes.
yeah, it's mainly because of the teacher sometimes. Maybe the lesson is not interesting enough. So, with young kids like that, from kindergarten
Yeah.
students, you got to be super active. I tell you, when I stopped teaching in kindergarten, I started to get fat. When I was teaching in kindergarten, believe me, I was jumping up and down all the time, and I can tell you that now,
I've seen from your videos.
it's tough. Oh man, well, that's how it is. That's how it is. Thank you so much for
For
your
kindergarten, you have
question.
got to be active. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no secret with that, and try to make it fun. Activities. If I don't know. William, because you are teaching in a bilingual kindergarten, so your classes might be a little bit longer. That usually in kindergarten is going to be for small class, or if you have small class, maybe it's going to be a 15 minutes. If it's small class, is going to be 20 minutes. Then you get middle class is going to be 25 minutes, and then big class is going to be 30 to 35 minutes. So maybe I don't know how long are your classes, your periods.
That's actually true. When I started, a lesson was an hour. One lesson was an hour, regardless of the age of the kid. You have
Wow.
to do it for 1 hour. And then, as the number of classes expanded because more people joined our school, it came down to 40 minutes for 50 minutes for bigger kids, then 35 minutes, 30 minutes for younger kids. And then it came down to 25 for smaller kids. But then now my lessons are 35 minutes for every lesson. So you have a longer duration. There are
Okay.
people who teach 20 to 25 minutes for a single lesson. But for now, it's 35 for me.
So that when to answer as well the question of Fifi, who was saying that classes are boring. Of course, like you said, in the time till the kid's gonna grow up, it's gonna be difficult to engage because they already know you and they know your best games. They know everything on you, and you might want to change the ask how are longer of like crafts, but using English, doing very simple stuff that can, but students use their hand, and it's also very interesting to do in kindergartens. Kids love doing stuff like this with their hands. They can play with uh, anything here with them. Like you say, I think you also, I used to be in a bilingual kindergarten where when the kids were having lunch, I had to be with them too, having lunch with them and try to talk to them, which was, I think that was my last kindergarten. I've been very, very nice, very gone very expensive. That was
So if
the
if I
the
may
tuition fee
if
was
I may
crazy.
offer some advice, if I may offer some advice. So one of the things I also do, one of the things I helpful to, when it comes to avoiding a boring lesson, and I talked about this extensively in the course, but I'll touch on this briefly, is you can try segmenting a lesson. And what that means is you break the lesson to little chunks that you can manage individually. If you look at it as a long lesson, it becomes a strain on the mind, you and for the kids. And then it feels like it's one long lesson. But then if you can break your warm up and introduction to one segment and try to dish out energy for that segment. And then after that segment, you just kind of bring everything down and everybody relaxes. And it feels like, oh, it's at a stop. Then you start the next segment a little higher, it feels like, oh, there's a bump and we are doing something interesting. So you can segment your lessons. Look at the chunks that go together. For example, your warm up, your introduction and your warm up, your lead-in presentation practice and production can be one chunk. Your review section could be another. So you can just like put them into simple little manageable units, and then you can start those activities on a high, and it feels that the time for that feels short as compared to a whole long lesson. So I think this is something that could
Yeah.
also help.
King classes, that's true. When you have a lot of time like that, it's really interesting to work for that, to do other things for sure. Thank you. I can see there's no more questions. Thank you very much. So please go and check out Teacher Williams' YouTube channel if you need tips, need help with your English class. He is also part of the ESL family, the Mike's Home ESL family. Yeah, we hope to see you very soon. You can
Yeah.
as well go to his course. Wish you all the best in the launch of this course. Hope everything is going to be fine. I'll be in the course for sure. I'll be checking out on your course. It's very important when it comes to, I'd like to, because I'm an old teacher, and how it was before teaching in kindergarten. When I started to teach in kindergarten, that was in 2007, 2008. So, it's different from now. And I like to, learn about different methods. And I'm sure your course is going to be very interesting. I can see that you put a lot of efforts in it. Thank you very
Thank you, Mike.
much for sharing this. I'm very proud of you, if we can say it like that. Keep up. It's impressive
Thank
what
you. Thank you
you've been
so much.
doing. Very
That
impressive.
means a lot
The
to
way
me, Mike.
you've presented your course very, very well. We can understand every single thing. Is leave me like, yeah, let's go to his course right away. No, but that's true for sure. Thank you so much, William. Hope to see
Thank
you
you.
on the ESL live stream very soon for maybe another subject and maybe with other teachers as well, with Stu and, the band. Hope we're gonna have maybe Mooncake English. You might know her, Jimmy. She might be back next year, so that would be great to see her as well. It's been quite a long
Oh,
time. She has an awesome YouTube channel as well, and yeah, I'd love to see her back so that
that's
we
great.
can talk about teaching. And even if it's Sunday night, you relax, talk about teaching, something that should be maybe your passion, and you don't always do things because of the money. And for me, teaching, being a teacher, is something that I will never change. Now we are on the ESL live stream trying to help other teachers. We're not much of
Yeah.
YouTubers, just try to work and try to be all together,
Yeah.
help that community so that everybody can find find help, and for the good sake of our children of the world. So hope uh, everything's gonna be fine for you the coming days. Hope the launch is gonna be fine. Thank you very much for coming in the live. Uh, and if you want to say something, maybe something else before
I
leaving.
just want to
No,
say thank you for the opportunity being here, Mike. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
it's all good, brother. I know you've been working hard. I was super impressed by your work, so keep it up. Thank you so much. See you very soon,
Thank you.
William. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers. Bye bye.
And thank you to all of you for that ESL live stream again. I think it was the 88 or 89. I don't even remember the number. But thank you for following us every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Today we were with our lovely teacher, Teacher William. Really awesome. Hope to see you next week. And I love that little song. I don't know if you guys have been teaching in kindergartens, but that song. We used to sing English songs, but when you go to the kindergarten, sometimes, and during the recess, when they have a rest, sometimes you can hear these songs that they're so good. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. I think it's I forgot the name. It's Xin Jie, Xin Jie. A very interesting song that you can find on YouTube. Thank you so much. It's time to go. Tomorrow we get school. So that was the ESL live stream. Uh, I'll see you in the next week. Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you guys. Goodbye.